I want to tell you a story about Damilila. In the heart of a bustling town in southwestern Nigeria, a young Yoruba girl named Damililo, lovingly called Dami, grew up surrounded by the warmth and love of her parents. Her name, meaning joy has returned, symbolized the light she brought to her family. Dami's father was a well-respected teacher, and her mother was known as a skilled craftswoman who made beautiful traditional clothing. Together, they raised Dami with love, laughter, and values that gave her a strong sense of self-worth. One rainy night, her parents were on their way back from a family celebration in a nearby town. As they drove on the slippery, winding road, their car skidded off and crashed into a large tree. The next morning, a neighbor came to Dami's door, his face ashen and eyes full of sorrow. When he spoke the words, "Your parents are gone, my child," Dami's world came crashing down. At only 15, Dami was left without the two people who had been her entire world. Her once joyful home felt empty and cold, and the laughter that had once filled it faded into silence. Soon after, she was taken in by her father's brother, Uncle Tund. Dami had never been close to him, but she hoped he would protect her as family should. But Uncle Tund was nothing like her father. He was bitter and selfish, resentful of the success her father had achieved through hard work. With her parents gone, he saw Dami as nothing more than a burden, and he quickly made it clear that her life would be different. Within days, Uncle Tund began ordering her to work long hours around the house, cooking, scrubbing floors, and washing clothes for him and his family. Dami barely had a moment to herself, and even when she was sick or tired, he would force her to continue. He often reminded her, "You're lucky I took you in. Without me, you'd be on the streets." Sometimes, when her cousins received new clothes or toys, Dami would look down at her worn, tattered dress and feel a pang of loneliness and loss. She missed her parents deeply, especially her mother's gentle hands sewing beautiful dresses just for her. Now, she barely had enough to wear, and her once hopeful spirit began to fade. One night, after a grueling day of chores, Dami found herself sitting alone under a large tree outside the house, gazing up at the stars. She whispered, "Mama, Baba, are you watching over me? Please help me find a way out of this." She felt a tear slip down her cheek, feeling the weight of her loneliness and longing for the warmth of her parents' love. The next morning, as she carried a heavy bucket of water up the stairs, her legs gave out. She collapsed, the water spilling everywhere, and lay there in exhaustion. Her uncle stormed over, shouting at her, calling her useless and weak. She curled into herself, wishing she could disappear. But in that moment, a spark ignited within her, a memory of her parents' words, telling her she was strong, that she was valuable, and that no one could take away her worth. Dami began to change. She realized that though she was trapped in her uncle's home, she still had her mind, her dreams, and her spirit. She started weaving small bracelets and sewing small cloth pieces in her free moments, practicing the skills her mother had taught her. Gradually, her work became more beautiful, her stitches neater, her patterns intricate. One day, an older woman in the town named Mama Funk noticed Dami's work as she passed by. "Ah, Dami, who made this beautiful bracelet?" Mama Funk asked, lifting the bracelet to the light. Dami shyly admitted that she had made it. The woman, recognizing the potential in Dami, asked if she could make more, promising to pay her for each piece. With a small spark of hope, Dami agreed, and every day she saved a little bit of the money she earned, hiding it from her uncle. As months went by, Dami's work spread throughout the community. She earned enough to buy her own food and even put aside a small savings. People admired her creativity, and her bracelets, scarves, and small bags became popular among the villagers. When Uncle Tund discovered that Dami was earning money, he demanded she hand it over to him. But Ayo stood her ground. "No, Uncle," she said with a newfound courage. "This is my work, and my mother taught me these skills. You have no right to take it from me." Furious, he threatened to throw her out, but she calmly replied, "That's fine. I can take care of myself now." Dami moved out that very day and, with Mama Funk's help, rented a small room nearby. She worked tirelessly, growing her business and improving her craft. Soon, she was able to support herself entirely and even began to teach other young girls the skills her mother had taught her, hoping to empower them to stand strong in the face of hardship. With time, Dami's name spread, and her designs were celebrated far beyond her village. She was no longer the frightened girl who had lost everything. She was a resilient woman who had transformed her pain into strength. In every piece she created, She honored her parents' memory, weaving their love and teachings into her work. Dami found happiness and freedom, not only in her craft but also in the community she built around herself. She had overcome her darkest days, and she knew that her parents were smiling down on her, proud of the beautiful, strong, and independent woman she had become. Thank you for watching. Kindly tell us what you learned from this story, and do follow us for more.